And today I have a question from Mike. Mike says, Annie, sometimes it's really easy for me to turn down a drink, and sometimes it is almost impossible. And it doesn't seem like things are different too much from time to time. It's just sometimes I feel strong in my resolve, and sometimes I feel extremely weak. What gives? This is such a good question, Mike. And I think that, there's a few things going on here, but a lot of it stems from the fact that recent studies show that willpower, which is what you need to turn down a drink, actually functions more like a muscle, and it can get fatigued. So if you've used your willpower on something else, so say you had a really hard day at work and you used your willpower to just power through the day, or you were really bored at a meeting and you used your willpower to pay attention when you didn't want to be paying attention, or your children were really acting up and you used your willpower to exercise patience with them when you wanted to just kind of get frustrated, then your willpower reserves have actually been depleted. So willpower, it's just not reliable. It can act some days more or less depending on what else you have going on. And there's all sorts of great sort of scientific studies to show this. And so it's really interesting because I believe that willpower probably isn't then the answer. And like I say in my book, you sort of have to make it so that you aren't sitting there denying a drink and really using your willpower to exercise it, as much as you've changed your mindset around it so that you didn't want the drink in the first place, that you no longer believe that it's going to reduce your stress. You actually believe that, it's going to increase your stress over time. It may numb the symptoms, but it's not going to reduce your stress long term. So actually changing your mindset is a much more effective way. I've been reading this great book. A reader recommended it to me, and I'm going to show it to everybody. It's called The Little Book of Big Change, and it's by Dr. Amy Johnson. And she has something really great to say about willpower, because she says, she talks a lot about your thoughts in this book and how your thoughts can be, they're powerless, but they can feel really powerful. And one of the things she says is that if you focus on something by giving it more thoughts, it becomes stronger. And willpower is in fact more thinking. So something pops into your brain like, oh, it's been a really long day and I really want to drink. And when you start to use willpower, you instantly have a bunch more thoughts about that drink. And you say, oh, but I'm not going to have one because it's not good for me, because I'm on, I've made it so long without one, because I really don't want one in the first place, because if I had one, it would turn into 10. But all of these things, all of these reasons are additional thoughts, are more thinking that you just piled on top of it. And that actually gives the initial urge more power than it had before you used willpower, because you're focused on it now. Even though you're focused on trying not to do it, your mind is still focused on that drink. What Dr. Johnson says is, she says you can actually just sit back and let that kind of flow away and say, okay, so I feel this urge. I'm not going to give it a lot of attention. I'm just going to observe it. And I'm just going to say, there's that urge. And I really want to drink. That's how I'm feeling right now. I accept that. And just sit with it for a few minutes. I've read something great in the community earlier today. She said she had made it, I think, 375 days without alcohol. And people were asking her how had she done it and what was her number one tip. And her number one tip was, every time I really want to drink, I set a timer for an hour and then I go do something else. And if I still am desperate for that drink in an hour, I tell myself, yeah, I'll have it. But chances are, by doing something else, by distracting myself, by just letting it go, that passes away. And that's the interesting thing. That's her advice. I don't know that that's true for everybody, but I think it's interesting. And I think that often, Dr. Johnson also says that no human condition is permanent. Our feelings ebb and flow, they go away, our urges go away. And so if we can just sit with it for a little while, if we can just take a pause, sometimes it just goes away. But I think it's a really good question. So when you have struggles exercising your willpower, it's most likely because it's been depleted somewhere else. And so really changing your mindset around it is a great thing. And I really recommend this book, The Big Book of Little Change. I found it very cool and very much in line with my book, This Naked Mind. So thanks so much, Mike. Great question, and have a very good day.
Let me ask you a question.
What is better than change? Lasting change, of course. And if you've had trouble making change stick, either with alcohol or in any other area of your life, you are in for a treat. I created the 100 Days of Lasting Change to ensure that we don't just change for a moment, but we truly transform for a lifetime. And this program is so close to my heart. Thousands of people have been through it and their results are incredible. But don't take my word for it. Check it out at thisnakedmind.com/100 days. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, as it truly helps the message reach somebody who might need to hear it today.